We might be wondering why Travis Kelce is this and that lately. Why the Kansas City Chiefs superstar tight end, who's known for his confidence on the field and his bravado off it, sometimes seems to look over his shoulder. Seems a little anxious when it comes to his relationship with Taylor Swift, the global pop icon whose presence can turn a stadium into a thunderstorm, and whose every gesture is analyzed by millions of devoted fans. Travis Kelce, who's used to fighting off 300-pound linemen, handling the pressure of Super Bowl Sundays, and performing in front of roaring crowds, is now facing a different kind of pressure, one that doesn't come from the gridiron, but from the reality of being entwined with one of the most recognizable women on the planet. One reason for this underlying fear is the sheer magnitude of Taylor's fame, a fame that dwarfs even the most celebrated NFL stars. Kelce is a household name in football circles, but Taylor Swift is a household name everywhere, a global phenomenon whose every move is followed by an army of Swifties who scrutinize every detail of her life. For Travis, this means that every aspect of his relationship is under the microscope, every dinner date, every handhold, every sideline glance. The attention is relentless, making privacy almost impossible and turning simple moments into headlines. Travis, who has enjoyed a certain level of fame and attention, has never experienced anything quite like this, and the fear of missteps, of saying or doing the wrong thing, grows with every viral clip and trending hashtag. Another reason is the weight of expectations, both from the public and from Taylor's fiercely loyal fan base, whose support is matched only by their protectiveness of her. Being in a relationship with Taylor means automatically stepping into a role, almost like becoming a character in her ongoing story, and any perceived misstep can trigger a tidal wave of opinions, commentary, and sometimes even backlash. Travis knows that the stakes are sky high, that winning over Taylor's fans is no small feat, and that any wrong move could mean losing not just Taylor, but the goodwill of millions. The pressure to measure up, to be worthy of someone who's inspired songs and moved mountains for her fans, is immense. Then there's the simple fact that Taylor Swift's relationships have always been front-page news, dissected and discussed in ways that few people, even celebrities, can truly understand. Travis has seen what happens when things go south, how Taylor's past breakups have been chronicled and sometimes weaponized by tabloids and social media, how every lyric and every interview is picked apart for hidden meanings. The thought of being the subject of that kind of scrutiny, of having his words and actions potentially immortalized in a song or a viral tweet, is enough to make anyone nervous. For Travis, the stakes are deeply personal. Losing Taylor wouldn't just be losing a partner, it would mean becoming part of a narrative that's larger than life, a story that the world feels entitled to comment on. Subscribe for more surprising stories like this. There's also the reality that Taylor herself has been through so much, that her trust and her heart are hard-won prizes. Travis knows that Taylor has been burned before, that she's guarded, that she values loyalty and honesty, above all else. He feels the pressure to be different, to be the exception, to prove that he's in this for the right reasons. Every moment feels like a test, every interaction an opportunity to show that he's not just another chapter, but someone who could be there for the long haul. The fear of letting her down, of failing to live up to the expectations she has for herself and for those around her, is a heavy burden. Another factor is the simple difference in their worlds. Travis, the football star, and Taylor, the global pop sensation, lead lives that are as different as night and day. Their schedules are packed, their obligations immense, and finding time for each other requires a level of commitment and sacrifice that few relationships ever face. Travis knows that Taylor's world is filled with travel, touring, recording, and public appearances, all of which come with their own set of demands and distractions. The fear of not being able to keep up, of being left behind or forgotten in the whirlwind of her life, is real. He's used to being the center of attention on Sundays, but with Taylor, the spotlight is constant, and sharing it means adjusting to a new kind of reality. Financially, too, there's a dynamic at play. Travis is successful by any standard, but Taylor's wealth and influence are on another level entirely. This can create insecurities, the sense of being overshadowed, or the fear that he might never truly be her equal in the eyes of the world. While Travis is confident in his achievements, he's also aware that Taylor's star shines brighter, and that can be intimidating, especially when the world is watching and waiting for any sign of weakness. There's also the question of legacy. Travis has worked his whole life to build a reputation on and off the field, to be known for his athleticism, his work ethic, his charisma. But being with Taylor means that his legacy could be forever tied to hers, that he might be remembered not just as an NFL star, but as the guy who dated Taylor Swift. While there's pride in being part of her story, there's also a fear of losing, his own identity, of being reduced to a footnote in someone else's narrative. This fear is compounded by the knowledge that Taylor's relationships often outlive the actual romance in the public consciousness, that years from now, people might still be asking him about her, about what went wrong, about what it was like to be in her orbit. The scrutiny isn't just about the present, it's about the future, about how this chapter will be remembered and retold. There's also the impact on family and friends. Travis's loved ones are suddenly thrust into the spotlight, their lives and opinions dissected by fans and media alike. Every interaction, every family gathering becomes fodder for speculation. The pressure to protect his loved ones, to shield them from the glare of Taylor's fame, adds another layer of anxiety. Travis wants to keep his world intact, to ensure that his family isn't overwhelmed or hurt by the attention, but that's a tall order when every move is newsworthy. The fear of collateral damage, of unintended consequences, is never far from his mind. Another reason is the difference in how they approach fame. Taylor is a master at navigating the complexities of celebrity, at turning even the most difficult situations into opportunities for connection with her fans. Travis, on the other hand, is more comfortable in the role of the athlete, where performance speaks louder than words, where the game is the focus and the personal stays personal. Adjusting to Taylor's world, where every story, every moment, can be shared, analyzed, and celebrated, is a challenge. The fear of being misunderstood, of having his intentions misread, of not being able to communicate in the language of pop culture, can create distance. Then, there's the simple fact that Taylor's exes are often famous in their own right, from actors to musicians to other athletes, and each relationship has left its own mark. For Travis, the knowledge that he's being compared, that every gesture might be stacked up against what came before, is daunting.